Oh god. Okay, so I don't know what to put as the background of this video, so I'm just gonna have the store here with the prices, so you can just soak that in for a bit. First, I want to start off with saying that almost everything about this announcement felt like an absolute slam fucking dunk. The Dusk Bloods looks fucking dope. Since Mario Kart Double Dash, I've been saying that an open world Mario Kart game, or at least a Mario Kart game where you could drive around in the actual world, would be fucking awesome. They just casually threw Silk Song in a random ass compilation, but there are just a couple of things here that rub me the wrong way, and I think set a very dangerous precedent for the gaming industry going forward. 80 fucking dollars for a digital game. Of course, we only know Mario Kart World to be this price, but I mean $80? Here you can see Donkey Kong Bonanza is $70. Yes, there is also this bundle that they sell where you can get, I think, like $30 off. I'm not happy with that. You know why I'm not happy with that? To me, that shows that they know damn well that $80 is way too much, and that $80 is a number that's gonna activate some neurons here and there and are just going to make people not want to buy it anymore. And I think that's fucking scummy. Nintendo, I fucking love their IP, but man, do they overvalue it. Nintendo for a really long time has been pretty anti-consumer, but their games have been good enough to get away with it. But now they're getting into very dangerous territory here that just completely blew everything up. The entire announcement was amazing, and then those prices released, and I don't know, with a little bit of bad luck, they could have like a fucking Wii U ass launch. Something I don't get about these prices is the fact that there is not a single household except like just rich people where this is a reasonable thing to buy anymore. Because yes, little Timmy wanted Mario Kart World for his birthday. That does mean you're not getting anything else, and you're eating ice soup for the rest of the week. Nintendo is a pretty out of touch company. This is not just out of touch. This feels, to me at least, borderline malicious. Their games are really good, but man, are they a bunch of assholes. We all know Wii Sports, a beloved game. It's kind of just a tech demo, but it's an actual fun game. And they tried to do something similar where they have a tech demo that's an actual game. Except this time you need to pay for it. I don't know how much it's gonna cost, but any price is too much for a tech demo, for a fucking manual. You know how every Nintendo console has like a gimmick? On the Nintendo Switch 2, the only thing that really comes close to a gimmick is the built-in Discord that they made, which is strongly paywalled. And I think they really overestimate how much people want to do in-game voice chat on a console like this. $60 for the camera? Really? And you need to also have a Nintendo Switch Online? We are not this desperate for Discord in Nintendo, right? They also released this Nintendo GameCube, the classic controller. I fucking love the GameCube, but $70 for an outdated controller? Is that really a smart move? This gives me like the same vibes as that PlayStation 1 like skin almost that they did for the PlayStation 5. Not in the same way that it's gonna sell out, but just nostalgia bait. They know people are gonna pay for it because it's the GameCube. And that just comes back to my original point that Nintendo is just being very malicious with the way they make these things. It's not full on like dark patterns, but it's pretty nasty stuff in my opinion. Also, I want to get this one out of the way real quick. Increasing prices like this is setting a very dangerous precedent for future games because there are a lot more significantly greedier companies that would love to charge $80 or even $90 or euros for their games. A lot of people have been speculating that GTA 6 is gonna be $100. And honestly, it might actually happen. I don't have that much faith in Rockstar. I'm pretty sure they're gonna turn to the dark side on this one. It's also important to note that Nintendo never ever does sales. So you're gonna have to pay full price if you want to play it anytime soon. And paying full price is not a bad thing. In this case, also it's important to note that physical is relatively misleading. I'm pretty sure they still have normal physical games, but not every physical game is treated like an actual physical game. Apparently, the way it's gonna work, I'm not sure, so take this with a grain of salt because I'm not an expert on this. There's probably a lot of videos out there explaining what they actually meant. The game cartridge that you get is not an actual game cartridge. It's essentially gonna work like a download code, so you can't just pop it in on a different switch and play it there. Or can you? I'm not sure, but I know for sure that when the servers are inevitably closing eventually, that's gonna hurt your cartridge. It's not gonna be worth anything anymore. So it's not an actual physical copy like normal copies are. I really don't know how to explain it because I don't fully understand that part. I just know that physical copies aren't treated like actual physical copies should, but they're still marketing it that way. You all know how everything has been getting more expensive, so eventually the gaming industry is inevitably going to crash. It's pretty much unavoidable at this point. Well, it feels like Nintendo wants to speed that up just a little bit. The problem with digital games is that when the industry crashes, you're not gonna own anything. That's a very, very scary thought. I very much hope you think that's a scary thought because it is. You pay a lot of money, especially here, you pay a lot of money without actually owning the game. You get like a license. You pay $80 to be allowed to play the game. Isn't that fucking crazy? I've also heard a lot of people say that these prices are acceptable because in the 90s, prices were even higher, equivalent to like more than $100 or euros. Nowadays, I'm just gonna quickly rant about that because I don't give a Yankee danky doodle shit about the 90s prices. When you're done sucking off Nintendo, wipe your mouth before you talk to me. The two aren't mutually exclusive. Yes, those prices were bad, doesn't mean these prices aren't bad. And Donald Trump, the president of the United States, just announced some pretty heavy tariffs, like pretty much everywhere. Now, I'm not from the United States, I'm from Belgium. For those who think that tariffs are the reason, God, you are a lost cause. He literally announced the tariffs right after the announcement of the prices. It wouldn't make sense driving up prices everywhere for something they didn't know until after making up the fucking prices. That's not how that works. Nintendo doesn't have a time machine. If you really think that's the reason, get well soon. I also hear people say that since the passing of Iwata, the CEO of Nintendo, up until 2015, where that's when he passed away, since that happened, Nintendo has become way more nasty in their practices. I can kind of see where you're coming from, but at the same time, Nintendo has always been a company that grossly overestimates its own IP. If anything, Nintendo is not really a company that cares about its consumers, but only cares about keeping that brand and that IP as clean as they possibly can. Under Iwata, that was the exact same. Yes, Wii Sports was free with the Wii, so we had an extremely successful launch. And maybe if he was still CEO, that fucking manual would have been free. But at the same time, Reggie had to really convince Nintendo to put it in for free. So it wasn't exactly a decision that they came up with themselves naturally. It had to be actively pushed towards that direction. So I'm not exactly sure, but that is all left up to speculation because it's not something that actually happened. But yeah, this is just overall a very, very sad day for gamers. All these games look fucking amazing. I'm not sure if you should buy them. Obviously you can buy them, but I don't know if that's responsible. Something I also need to mention real quick that I forgot. There are There are obviously going to be a lot of Nintendo YouTubers, or primarily Nintendo YouTubers, that are not really going to talk about the prices, are not really going to say their opinion on it, are not gonna say that it's bad because it's objectively bad pricing. The worst thing you can do right now is listen to a Nintendo YouTuber. A big portion, if not the majority, is not gonna acknowledge those prices being bad because it's directly tied to their own income. If Nintendo does well, so do they. Nintendo almost pays their bills indirectly. So if they're gonna actively damage the hype of this launch, it's gonna hurt their own bank account. And by definition, these people are too biased. You really shouldn't listen to them. I mean, you can ask their opinion, and if they are honest about it, props to them. That's impressive. I'm not so sure how many of them are going to be. I was really hyped for this console. I really wanted to buy a Switch 2. But right now, you're gonna have to clutch up pretty insanely during that next direct that they're gonna do on the 17th of April, I think it is, which is the day before my birthday. So they better have some kind of crazy master plan to pull this all back, because I'm currently not seeing it. Today, Nintendo also went live to show off some of the games. I'm pretty sure I wasn't there, but apparently the chat was just absolutely flooded with people asking for, or pretty much demanding, that the prices be dropped, which I think is a good sign, because if you are really like fine with these prices, you're either rich or a YouTuber or an idiot. Recently, voting with your wallet is like a lost ancient art form. People really don't do that anymore because the FOMO is so bad. Purely out of principle, unless they do some crazy clutch up in that next direct, I'm not gonna buy a Switch 2, which is going to heavily alter my plans. But I just can't convince myself that this is something that I want to support. This is not something that I want to see become a regular thing. It's inevitably all gonna come crashing down soon, but I don't want it to be this year, you know? I think if they don't drop the prices again, we're looking at some very dark times for games in the near future, and I cannot bring myself to pay up for this, not just because I think it's irresponsible towards myself and my money that I have, because I could pay for it, but it's just not a very smart thing to pay for. There are a lot of families right now and people that really can't afford this, and Nintendo is actively alienating its own audience with this, which I honestly find really surprising. I think Nintendo is a company that really likes to plan out everything they do. This feels like a decision that wasn't thought about for a millisecond. I don't know why they thought that these prices were not gonna be received with complete outrage, because they obviously were. They even tried to hide the prices. They never showed prices, I'm pretty sure. I don't know, I hope that I said everything. But yeah, $80 for digital games, that's inexcusable. Dangerously high, and it's gonna have long-term effects, or short-term effects honestly, on gaming as a whole if this is not reversed. So in the meantime, it seems that Steam is the final bastion standing. I hope that they don't turn to the dark side anytime soon, because then we are extremely fucked. I don't know, go play some indie games or something. I'm sure that Silksong is going to release on PC as well, so that's the most important thing from that direct, in my opinion. Yeah, I was really excited to play these games, but purely out of principle, I really cannot support this. If you still want to buy the games, I mean, fuck it, go for it, I guess. I don't really care that much. This is purely for myself that I think this is just not worth it at all. The future is not bright, but at least people are speaking up about it, so maybe there is hope. Maybe there is just a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. I don't just think that this is a bad decision, it's a decision that I just can't wrap my head around. Let's hope that all this outrage can talk some sense into Nintendo, because otherwise it's gonna have some long-term effects. No matter what happens, my trust in Nintendo, which wasn't that big, but my trust in Nintendo is definitely damaged. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments. I'm honestly curious what the general opinion is on this. And it's completely fine if you do think differently. I think that goes without saying though. Bye.